Hello everyone and welcome to the next in our series of daily origami for YouTube. Today we're going to continue with our theme of making some traditional origami, and today we're going to make a cross. And this particular origami, you need a really long thin piece of paper. You don't need any scissors or glue after that, so you do just need to kind of find the paper. I know sometimes they sell the strips of paper for making like lucky stars, and I would imagine that kind of paper might work pretty good. I'm going to be using my large paper. It's 35 centimeters by 35 centimeters. I'm going to just cut it into a 1.5 centimeter strip. You could probably go even a little narrower if you want to. You'll kind of see the finished result here as we go through things. If you want, more of a stout looking cross, you can do that, or you can make a longer, thinner, kind of more elegant looking one. So it's kind of up to you guys as how you're trying to do things. But I have, like I said, I have my big paper. This is 35 by 35, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut a little strip down along the edge here so that I can have the size that I need. Now once you've got kind of that nice thin piece of paper, the process of this, and you can use this technique too with like ribbon for packages, which would be really pretty too. You want to kind of just imagine things as you're working. There's not so much of an exact kind of way of folding things for this. So with a little practice, you'll kind of get the hang of things and know, how much you can start off with. I've got my long strip here, and what I'm just going to start off with is just folding over some. Now you've got to imagine that with what you're folding over up here, it's kind of like tying a tie. You don't want the bottom part to be way super short. This is going to serve as the shorter part that runs horizontally across the cross. So I'm going to try to kind of just give myself a little bit of paper, and it's probably about a third of my strip of paper here. And you want to try to fold this over, creating a nice 45-degree angle here. And that can be a little tricky, but you want to kind of maybe, if you, like I've got kind of lines on my paper here, I can kind of see if I'm getting a good angle. Get that part folded over, and then I'm going to take what I've folded and pull it around, and you can kind of course line up with the bottom edges and make that a nice smooth crease. Then I'm going to fold over again, and you can kind of keep things a little loose here. You don't want it to be super tight because we're going to be using this to serve sort of as the place that we're going to feed paper through. So we don't want to make it too super tight. But we get that top part folded over. Then I'm going to take what I have here and fold it back right over what I've just worked with. And this is where you're going to get that width of how wide that horizontal piece is. Mine's going to be pretty short. I think I can kind of imagine it being that I have the width of this ribbon or piece of paper I'm using, and I'm going to have about an equal size square on either side. So kind of imagine that you're going to need to be taking this around, and you just need enough, of course, to tuck it behind. So kind of play around with where that's going to fall so that you can get that right distance. So I'm going to pinch it off here. And then when we roll this around, we want to try to, of course, create some space here that's equal to what we have on the other side. And then we can just tuck that right inside here so that it's behind it. So we've got so far this much going. Now I'm going to take this whole horizontal part of the cross and just roll it down right flush with that edge. And this is another chance for you to kind of see, if things look like they're pretty about the same there. It looks a little short, doesn't it? Let me kind of adjust it just a little. If you give a little pull and recrease, you can kind of adjust things as you do stuff here. But that kind of gives me my part that's going to serve at the top, the horizontal section of my cross. Then we're going to take what we've got here of this nice long section, and I want to feed it through here. Now inside, if you kind of see here, inside here we have a hole that goes, because there's that part we folded over, the triangle section there. We want this to go, oops, right in that pocket area, and then feed it through. Now if you're having trouble with this and your paper seems to be just a little too wide, or you didn't cut it quite straight, you can go ahead and kind of taper off the end of this to kind of allow it to feed through a little easier, because we will be kind of hiding this part when we're done. So, but I've got that part going through. I'm just going to pull it all the way up until it gets all the way down to the bottom. And again, you don't want to pull too tight on this because it'll cause the paper to kind of poof out in a weird way. So you kind of just get that part completed. Now I'm going to take all this and fold it back down. Now I want to try to probably create a similar width that I have on either side here of the horizontal section up here on top too. That'll tend to kind of create a nice balanced looking cross. So I kind of find where that is, crease it off, and we're going to feed this paper through again through this pocket. And this time it should go a little smoother because there's no sides or anything in the way because we've already fed one side through. So I'm going to just get this started. Feed it through slowly. And if you use really thick paper, origami paper is pretty thin, so it does have a tendency to kind of, oops, not want to cooperate sometimes. But I'm going to just try my best to get this to go through here. I'm actually kind of having a hard time with it, so I'm just going to go ahead and do like I was saying, just taper off this a little bit. That'll make it go through a little smoother. And then you can pull it right through. Bring it up to that crease you made. So we've got now those three sides of our cross. And then at the very end, you can go ahead and take what you've got down here and fold it up. Now, if you found as you've done things that maybe that's looking a little too long and you'd rather shorten it up a bit, you certainly can choose the length that you like, and then you can just cut off or fold off the end. That's up to you. I'm just going to go ahead and make mine about like this. I think that looks pretty good. Get that bottom crease started, and then we're going to, of course, tuck this inside here. Now, this can only go as far as up to here, so you can't have anything that extends beyond that. So if you want, you can kind of fold stuff back first to give yourself an idea of how far you can go. But then we can just kind of slide this up in here. And too, again, if you want to, on this, you can even add a little taper so that it goes in there a little easier. Kind of get that wiggled up in there a little bit, and that should give you your little finished cross. And that is the finished piece there. Now the dimensions, of course, kind of based on what I used with my paper. I'll give you guys an idea of that, and it depends again on, you know, how much kind of paper you start off with in the beginning. Mine wound up giving me a cross that's about 4.5 centimeters wide and about just shy, about 7.5 centimeters tall. To kind of give you an idea of the dimensions. But certainly a fun kind of project to do as we get close to Easter, especially here if you want to be making some stuff for that. But that should give you our finished project for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.